Good evening, Zimbabwe, where the only thing that moves faster than inflation is political drama. Let's dive in. Vice President Chiwenga was in Bulawayo preaching against corruption in the mining sector, promising tough audits, whistleblower protection, and even a touch of artificial intelligence. Bold words, General, but as Zimbabweans know, every time someone promises to fight corruption, a brand new mansion pops up in Borodale. Still, it's nice to see the government discovering that corruption is bad again. Meanwhile, in Harare, the city sewer system is literally drowning in sand. 6 to 10 tons of it every day, clogging pumps and breaking equipment. Apparently, some residents think manholes are trash cans and others use sewer pipes for irrigation. The city is switching to plastic manhole covers, probably so they are harder to steal and sell. Our capital is now the only city on earth where we mine gold and sand at the same time, one underground, one inside the pipes. In Parliament, ZANU-PF Chief Whip Pupurai Togarepi finally said what we are all thinking. Mobile networks are robbing people. You call 10 times and the call never goes through, but your airtime vanishes like a ghost. Potras, the so-called regulator, was told to act. Don't hold your breath. They will probably form a committee to study airtime disappearance. Still in politics, President Mnangagwa fired yet another ally of Vice President Chiwenga, this time retired Brigadier General Ezekiel Sabanyana. Another day, another page. It's like watching a soap opera called The Crocodile Strikes Again, only the ending never changes. Everyone loyal to Chiwenga ends up redeployed. Defense Minister Oppah Muchinguri, who is also ZANU-PF's chairperson, complained that cyberbullies are attacking her kids online. Fair point. Families should be off limits. But then she went further, calling for mandatory drug testing for school kids and workers. You heard that right. Soon, your boss might hand you a test cup next to your payslip. She says it's the only way to fight drug abuse, though many say the real addiction problem in Zimbabwe is power, not bronchlear. Meanwhile, the Treasury found $5 million to pay farmers via the Grain Marketing Board, just enough to prove they still exist. Let's hope it doesn't disappear into administrative processing fees. And over in Glenview, Harare residents feared their beloved solar bore was about to be demolished. The city later clarified, no, we are just evicting the land barons next to it. Sounds like criminals around the president. The CZI boss, Sekai Kuvarika, told industries to stop pretending climate change is a Western thing. She warned that sustainability is now survival. She's right. At this rate, even crocodiles will need air conditioning. Then came the Mpilo Hospital horror story. 2 babies switched at birth 18 years ago. DNA tests exposed the truth. The families are devastated. Lawyers are circling, and the hospital is mumbling about records retrieval. Only in Zimbabwe can a baby swap take 2 decades to detect, and the response is still, we are investigating. And while residents fight for wetlands, developers are busy grading Monaville like it's a construction competition. Emma fined them, they kept digging. Some arrests were made, then unmade. The wetlands that purify Harare's water are now being turned into suburb stands for the politically blessed. It's hard to talk about sustainability when the bulldozers are already warming up. Over to the diaspora front, Speaker Jacob Mdenda told Zimbabweans in South Africa to get proper papers before complaining about xenophobia. He's not wrong, but it's a bit harsh coming from a government that can't even print enough passports on time. Thankfully, South Africa extended the Zimbabwe exemption permit to 2027. One less thing to panic about for now. South Africa's historic Fort Hare University, the place where Mandela, Mugabe and Seretse Khama once studied, is on fire, literally. Students torched buildings in protest. The government says it's criminality. Students say it's frustration. Either way, it's a bad look when the cradle of African intellect becomes a bonfire. In South Sudan, President Salva Kiir changed his army chief again, fired the new one, brought back the old one. It's like musical chairs, except the music is gunfire. COMESA launched a digital payment system that lets African countries trade in their own currencies. Finally, a move that makes sense because paying another African in US dollars always felt like asking your neighbor to borrow sugar and then billing them in euros. I wonder if they are going to accept the ZiG though. In the Middle East, Israel and Hamas finally agreed on phase 1 of a ceasefire. The deal includes freeing hostages and pulling back troops. The world cheered cautiously because ceasefires in Gaza last about as long as Zimbabwean electricity. And in the Vatican, Pope Leo, the first American Pope, released a document attacking greed and inequality. He even took a jab at Donald Trump's immigration stance, a bold move for a man whose church runs on donations. Staying in Europe, Putin admitted that Russia accidentally shot down an Azerbaijani passenger jet last year and promised compensation. A rare moment of honesty, maybe because the black box didn't have a blame Ukraine option this time. And in sports and arts. This weekend, Zimbabwe Warriors face South Africa's Bafana in Durban. Technically, it's our home game because we don't have a stadium that FIFA approves. Zimbabwe will play for pride, Bafana will play for qualification, and the fans will play for bragging rights. Expect vuvuzelas, flag wars, and a few missed penalties. Locally, Ngezi Platinum coach Tekshua Chiragwi slapped his player during a heated match. The player says it was an accident, right? And my phone accidentally dialed my ex. The coach apologized, but the video is now PSL's new PR nightmare. And FIFA boss Gianni Infantino wants World Cups to be played whenever the weather suits. Maybe March, maybe December, as long as the money is right. Because in modern football, the only real referee is the bank account. In South Africa, Zimbabweans are planning to boycott Ja Praiser's concert because of his support for the ZANU-PF regime. Commentators say when artists support oppressive parties, they become part of the problem. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's Zimbabwe, where Chiwenga preaches transparency, Muchinguri wants drug tests, Mnangagwa keeps cleaning a house, and Harare's sewer is officially a sand mine. Abroad, Fort Hare bans, South Sudan reshuffles, and Gaza pauses, hopefully for more than a weekend. If you have loved, sighed, or yelled, "That's true," at any point, hit like, share, and subscribe to Zimwaves TV because here we tell the news the way it actually feels. Painful, funny, and too real to ignore.